Today, we're chatting about net worth. Yes, the barometer for your financial health, your financial strength, and your financial future. Through the many financial conversations I have had, and even in my own personal experience, a lot of people actually don't know what net worth is. And today, we're going to change all that. I've invited a man who's been tracking his net worth every month for the last 10 years. That is, let's see, 12 times, that's 120 net worth charts. That's crazy. That's dedication. And that mystery man is, he goes by J Money. He's a very popular blogger from the Budgets Are Sexy blog. He's also a married man and a father of 3 awesome kids. Welcome to the show, J Money.
Hello, thank you, sir. I like that intro. I'm gonna take you with me wherever I go.
It's like it's like when you're running, you got like the guy next to you with the boombox being like, these are your theme songs."
That would be really nice.
That would be cool.
I don't run. Maybe that's what I need to get
to get running, right? So what got you interested in doing your very first net worth chart back in the day?
Oh man, yeah. 10 years ago, I bought a house at the peak of the market. No money down, no skills, nothing. I just it was one of those things that everyone's like, oh, you got to get married, you got to buy a house, you got to have kids, all this stuff. And so I said, oh, a house. Anyways, long story short, I bought a house on a whim. Started Googling, hey, how do you budget? How do you manage money? And I came across blogs, which I didn't know what they were at the time. And I saw a blog called My Money Blog by Jonathan. MyMoneyBlog.com, which is still going on right now. And he shared his net worth, like the savings, debts, investments, everything. And I'd never seen someone's real life money. And that fascinated me. I resonated well. I kept reading more blogs and eventually decided to start my own. But seeing him showcase it for the first time in my life was so shocking that I'm like, I'm going to try this and see what happens. And, here we are 10 years later.
That's great. So what about Jonathan's blog was like, hey, I want to do that too. Did you like his openness, his honesty?
Yeah, I like the openness. It was really easy to read. It was kind of fun. After a while, it was like the same kind of stuff that personal finance, like whatever you'd expect to read from a financial site.
Yeah.
And I started going to others, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just come out here, talk about drinking, I just want it to be more regular, I guess.
Yeah.
Because finance isn't in my background. It's nothing I studied for. I was just a regular person, in my 20s, going out to bars and stuff. So I thought, well, I'm going to have fun and I'm going to curse and I'm going to be crazy. And just totally for passion, like no idea you can make money online. No idea what changed, my finances and my life for the better. But yeah, just one of those things. I just at least tried, and longest thing I've ever done in my life, really.
So it was the no money down house that kind of said, oh man, I gotta figure this stuff out. And then you did some investigation. So why did you decide net worth tracking was the way to start to improve? Why was that important for you?
Probably at first because of Jonathan, and since I liked him and I liked, I don't know, it just seemed like he knew what he was doing. And I was like, oh, well, let me sit down and track mine. And I'd never tracked, stuff like that before. So seeing, you set it up and then once a month, it takes 5 minutes, you log into your accounts, copy, paste numbers and put it in, but it gives you something like a physical number, like $10,000 or whatever. It's like, it gives you something. So, like overall, this is how I stand. Here's a snapshot of my whole financial picture. That was really telling for me. And then every month seeing it go up or down was also telling, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. Right. And sometimes it's out of your control, and most times it is within your control. So having something to track every month was super important for me to hold myself accountable, at least.
That's cool. So what was the first number you threw out there in, I think this was 2008, that said, hey, here's my starting net worth?
Yeah, I think it was around $50,000. And I think I even tracked net worth a little differently there. Like I didn't know what I was doing. I was just looking at what other people are doing, trying to figure it out, which, there's a lot of us in life. And I think a bulk of that was 401k money, and then a whole bunch of equity in my house, which I thought was equity, which later turned out not to be so much equity. So probably it was more around $10,000 realistically. But yeah, 50,000 was the first number that I started tracking.
So people are hearing us say this word over and over, this couple of words, net worth, over and over and over again. Could you explain what net worth is, just so we're on par with everybody as we're going through the show?
Yeah. And basically it's just a snapshot of your money. So everything that all your assets on one side, all your liabilities. So, if you have cash, Investments, that goes on one side. You have debts, credit card, student loan, that's another side. And in a very simplistic nutshell, your assets minus your liabilities, everything you own minus what you owe equals a number. And that number is your net worth. How you track it, what goes in there, that's all, stuff for you to decide and to figure out what makes you comfortable. But in a general, that's your net worth number.
Okay, cool. So back when you started off, were you saying, hey, I want to get to this number? Or were you just saying, hey, I want to track something just so I know what I'm doing?
No, I wanted $1 million.
There you go.
I think, it's funny because now $1 million, I like it. It's fun to think about, but it's like way at the bottom of the priority list. But when you're first paying attention to money, like $1 million is $1 million, right? And of course, like it's super exciting. It's a goal. So that's what I want. I was like, I'm gonna start tracking all the way up until I hit $1 million, which I'm still not at. But I'm getting closer, as the months and the years progress. But that's what excited me at the time. Now it's more financial freedom and, daily lifestyle versus the money. But $1 million was what I was shooting for. And a lot of people, I think, especially the younger you are, the more exciting it seems to be.
Yeah. So you started at 50,000 and where are you today? It's 10 years later.
Yeah. So right now I'm about 840,000.
Oh,
so
man,
slowly,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's creeping to that million.
Yeah, it's getting there, and it has its ups and downs, of course. And, the stock market the last 10 years obviously has been doing great. So, it's not all me being awesome. It's other stuff, but yeah, we're getting closer.
Well, that's cool. Let's help people figure out how to grow theirs like you have. I mean, that's a big swing. That's $800,000 in 10 years. That's incredible. So let's talk about the things that you did to help increase it from 50,000 to 850,000 over that time. So you talked about a couple different things. You said assets, you said liabilities. A lot of people struggle with debt, and that's where the liabilities come in, right? So I was doing a little going into your website and looking at all your past, because I mean, no joke, guys. He literally tracked every month for the past 10 years, and he's got it all on his site. So talk about if you want to peek into somebody's lives like he did with Jonathan originally, and getting an understanding. So we appreciate the openness. But one thing I saw in 2008, right when you started, you had an auto loan, you had a car, and then all of a sudden it completely disappeared from your chart. What happened?
Yeah,
Where'd that
I
go?
sold that bad boy. Yeah, I had an SUV, chrome rims. I was like, I'm the man. And actually, on a whim one day, I saw an old beat up Cadillac, for like $3,000 on the side of the road. I was like, oh man, like that Cadillac would give me just as much like excitement as this SUV. It's a tenth cheaper. And then, probably over about the course of 2 weeks, I decided to sell my Highlander at the time, my SUV. I think I had like 20,000 left on it owed. And I just bought this credit card. I actually put the car on my credit card and paid it off within a month. But yeah, it was $3,000 and I got rid of my debt. I got a car that did the same thing for me in terms of enjoyment. A little bit older and more mileage, but yeah, that was a nice and easy thing. And really that's what I've learned over the 10 years. There's a lot of stuff that excites us, right? Some stuff costs a lot of money. Something is free, like going on a walk, right? Like if you give me $100 of cash or say, hey, let's go to the movies or let's go out to dinner or go on a walk. They're both like all that stuff is equal excitement for me. Right. And so sometimes you take the walk, sometimes you go and you spend the money. And so with a car, it's the similar thing. Like if both things excite me and one's going to get me closer to the goals, usually I go for the one that's going to get you closer to the goals.
Well, so at this point, then I think it was in my awesome research on your site here in 2009, you were now like consumer debt free. And then in 2016, you all of a sudden had
I bought another car.
Oh, you did? Is that what
Alexis? Yeah.
So what happened there?
Yeah, so this is another thing, right? Like I started having kids, right? So I was like a hustler for 5 or 6 years, working nonstop, had kids. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Like there's more to life than making money and working hard all the time, right? And long story short, I became in charge of the kids in transporting, and no longer would my hoopty be safe enough to do the trick, And so I was looking for cars, and it was one of those things where I'd see like a minivan or like a normal SUV or one that would fit 3 kids, or 2 kids at the time. And I knew that like going like a luxurious ride. So I went from the old Cadillac to a Lexus RX 300. it was only like $2,000, let's say more, to get the SUV or to get the Lexus. And so for me, again, going back to lifestyle, like that was worth me spending extra to have a more enjoyable ride every day. And it was safer, and there's all that stuff too. But that was neat. So you could tell, like, over the 10 years, like I kind of went back and forth from the hoopty to the fancier, back and forth. But again, lifestyle and priorities at the time.
Well, that's the thing. Once you start cleaning up your finances, it's not all about deprivation, right? I mean, you're in a good spot and you're feeling good.
Right.
Why not treat yourself and then take care of your family in the same sense?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, and I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, I won't, but I got a lot of hell from writing that article. Like, I had people like, I've been following you for years, I'm unsubscribing.
Oh, no.
Like you are horrible. You've been lying to me over the years. People get so like online, right? People get crazy online, and I'm talking about budgeting and money. It's not even hardcore, but a lot of people got offended or thought like I was going against stuff, right? But going back to your point, it is, once you get your money on track, well, you're allowed to do whatever you want with your money, period, right? Yeah. But once you get it on track, you're able to make these decisions, and people see that, and they didn't see, all the years of savings or all the years of, paying attention and minimalism. And so they just see like, oh, you bought a fancy car and you're a financial blogger. Like, those don't go together. Like, get out of here, right? Like, you suck. So.
Oh man. Well, and then in 2016, the mortgage went completely off your chart. So where did that go?
Oh,
How did that happen?
I'm mortgage free. You know why? Because I sold the house too, man. I'm a renter. That's another thing that people like, wait, that doesn't make sense. How can you rent and be a financial person? But again, like, so for me over the years, really figuring out what makes me happy, what I enjoy, like my perfect lifestyle, right? And my perfect lifestyle is freedom. Yeah. Freedom, not having to worry about money, freedom from responsibilities, at least the annoying parts of responsibilities. And so, we owned a house, and that was like the biggest probably mistake of my life, but it also got me into like paying attention in the blog and talking to you on the podcast, right? Like, it all started because of the house. So not a bad thing, but that house, I was never meant to be a homeowner, at least at that time. Mm-hmm. I did it because everyone else was doing it and saying that's what you should do. Right. And so that's why I did it, and so, but the stress that came with the maintenance, everyone says, oh, like compare your rent and your mortgage, but it's not, but there's so much more that goes into it, and, anyone that owns a house knows that it costs money. Right. And so, we sold the house and I became free. I even paid, I think like $13,000 or $14,000 at closing to sell my own house. Right. Like, it definitely wasn't an investment, but I've been free for about 2 years now. It just feels so good. And, we had a flood in our rental the other month, and I just made a phone call, and, that was that. It was nice and easy, and I found out it was like a $15,000 cash fix, but not my problem, right?
I love it. Yeah, I mean, the majority of my summer, Jay, is I spend outside pulling weeds or taking care of my lawn, trying to figure out what new sort of weed is on my lawn that I have to go to Home Depot on and figure out how to get rid of. It's and then the thing whatever, something inside the house breaks. So I think you've made the right decision for your family and your life. Absolutely. So those are the liabilities. So we talked about a few things there: car, the credit card, the home mortgage, things like that. Let's talk about the assets. Obviously, that's a great way to boost your net worth. So how did your 401k help you with boosting your net worth? How did you get started in your 401k, and then how has that helped you over the years?
Yeah, so the 401k is probably like the number one thing I've done. And now that I'm self-employed, I don't have a 401k, but I have a SEP IRA. And there's, a little bit different rules. But anyways, the one thing I did starting from day one when I'm like, you know what, I want to grow my net worth. My goal is to max my 401k every year, no matter what. And I'm talking max, I think at the time it was like $16,500 a year, something like that. And I told myself, I was like, as long as I can do that every year, like, there's no way for you not to become a millionaire over the time, right? Like, it's not going to be fast, but over X number of years, like, it's just physically not possible to make $1 million if you put, 15 grand into the market every year. And so that's really where it all started. At the time, I had the additional bonus of working at a startup company. And that company was like, look, we will match 100% of whatever you put into your net worth up to the full max. Like, it was crazy. And I looked around, I was like, oh my gosh, do all of you maxing out your 401k? Like, this is free money. And everyone's like, no, like, I can't, I'm not going to, like, I don't care. I need my money, right? I want to go out shopping or whatever. And I thought it was crazy. I was literally the only one for the first year to put, I think, let's say it was 16,000. they would give me 16,000. And so I
Wow.
automatically doubled my money and in investments, and with the stock market, being low and then all of a sudden climbing, like over the time, it exponentially grew. So there's definitely luck and timing in there, but it was crazy that out of all, like say 15 people I worked with, only 2 or 3 of us at the end before I left was maxing it out. Like they didn't realize it was double money for free, right? Even if you doubled it and then cashed out and paid all the taxes and fees, you still make a ton of money,
Yeah.
right? But it was a psychological, like there was weeks or months where I would have like a paycheck of like $90, right? And then I had to live off $90 for 2 weeks, right? And so most people aren't, that hardcore. They don't want to do that. And so, there's, ups and downs.
Sure.
But yeah, so maxing the 401k every year. And then I eventually added maxing a Roth IRA on top of it. So over the years, like on average, I'd put in at least $20,000 no matter what. And then anything else was extra if there was extra.
Wow. Okay. So, and now you said as you're a self-employed guy, you're doing the SEP IRA, and that's just it's the same thing as a traditional IRA, but for self-employed people. Is that right?
Yeah. And there's maxes, like it has to be a percentage of what you earn. There's pros and cons to it, right? I don't get the free matching 401k anymore, which is like the biggest thing that sucks, but you get lots of other freedoms working for yourself. But yeah, so right now I max out the SEP every year. I max out my Roth IRA every year. And then, yeah, those are the only 2 things I consciously try to do. Everything else is just extra. And there was a period of 3 years when I had my second kid and my wife wasn't working. Like I was providing like for my whole family on a blog income, which isn't a lot. I mean, it's fine. But I was doing that. And for, I think 3 years straight, I think I lost like $80,000 or $90,000 in cash. Like I was losing money every month, and my net worth would show losing money. The stock market might hide it if it was going up, but if you looked at the cash reserves every month for like a few years, it kept going down, 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 down. So there are, and that was a mixture of, not pushing my blog to make money. It was having a better lifestyle. Like there was a lot of stuff that goes into it, but the point is not always going up all the time. And you have to consciously decide, how you're going to spend or save your money.
Sure.
Depending on, again, your goals.
When did you make that transition to having your side hustle, your blog, saying, hey, I just want to do this as a way to, help myself and help other people, into finding a way that you can make money from your business, but then doing it in a way that you feel good? At what point in your life did that happen?
Yeah, so I was blogging for about 1.5 years, 2 years, and it got to a point where I was working like 80 hours a week. I'd work on the blog 40 hours, I'd work 40 hours, and my wife was like, dude, you are burning out. Like you need to pick one or the other. And I was like, well, there's no way I cannot give up this blog because it's so much fun. I'm learning and growing, right? Our net worth is growing. And so I was like, well, then it has to be the job. And coincidentally and fortunately for me, who hates making big decisions, like I walked in, I was like, all right, give your 2 weeks notice, right? Around Christmas time. And they called me in the office and they said, guess what? You're fired. So I was like, are you serious? And I literally packed my stuff. I went to a friend who had an office and I just started working. And from that day, I was a full-time blogger.
Wow.
So the decision was made for me. And my wife was nervous, like, wow, like give it a few months. And I said, all right, give me 3 months. If this doesn't go well, I'll look for another job. Right. And it's been about 8 or 9 years. So, and I still haven't. But yeah, so that forced me to transition over. And even at the time, so then it went from making double money, right? Because I had my salary. I think it was about 60 or 70,000 from the job, and then I think I was making, let's say, 40 or 50,000 blogging, and so that was, I was $100-something-thousand.
Yeah.
And then when I lost the salary, I was like, woohoo, self-employed blogger, I'm awesome. And I'm like I'm making like half now, and so that was a really weird thing too, because I had to get used to making like even. Right? Not saving anything.
Yeah.
And I remember writing a blog post thinking like, is your dream job worth it if you're not saving any money anymore? Right? So here I was, the finance guy, saving, banking, investing, and all of a sudden I had no money to do that as much. So then I had to say, well, how am I going to make more money? Right? And so that, to your question of monetizing blogs, and there's a whole bunch, that's, you might've covered this before on the show, but that's a whole other, how to make money blogging. And there's stuff that, you can do, like there's stuff I could do. I can probably make 30 grand a month, but I can't do it because it's against what I feel is stuff.
Sure.
Right. So I do enough to provide for my family, stuff that I'm comfortable with, and then I call a day. Good lifestyle, that's good. You don't need to like hyperdrive it. So